So this is one of our special episodes to celebrate our 100th episode of doing the Handon Weekly podcast. We've been doing it for 2 years, and we're so happy for everyone that tuned in, gave ultimate support, whether it was, requesting episodes, interacting with us on social media, and also sticking with us after the show ends. And today, we're finally deciding to give you another taste of what was to come with season 5 of Legacies. And we hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, exactly what she said. Thank you guys for sticking around. And I cannot believe this is our 100th episode.
Yeah,
Literally
do you remember?
2 years. Like we have been doing this since the
fact that you guys,
this.
the fact that you guys have stuck with us for this long and that we've been able to create 100 episodes based off this one show is just insane.
It's crazy.
You know what? Let's dedicate it to all those people who thought we weren't gonna last, who thought we were gonna fall on our faces. We're not we got our 100th episode. So thank you guys for your non-support, because you just gave us more fire, you gave us more drive.
Yeah.
And
it really means a lot that you guys tuning every week. Like we thought nobody would watch it, and then we got 1K views in 2 days. There's episodes.
Yeah.
Get 1K.
And guys, please enjoy this special episode because it is indeed one of my favorites. There's a lot that we talked about, a lot that you guys we would have saw if we had gotten to season 5, and I think it's going to bring a lot of closure to some people. That's what we wanted to do with this episode. Our special guest, who is the best person ever, we love them, so just enjoy it, and thank you so much for 100 episodes. We wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for you guys.
Huge clap to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for waiting. You waited for almost 2 months. So thank you. I hope it worth the wait. I've once again, we've seen so many questions and head canons about what they think would happen with season 5 or after Legacies. But hopefully now you have a clearer head direction of what was actually planned, and maybe you can now sleep at night. We'll see you in the comments.
And this is just a reminder that we're not going anywhere. We're 100 episodes in, but let's make it to 200, guys. Let's keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Exactly.
I mean, we're meeting Danielle in the end of the year. Who knows?
Oh my God, you imagine that, a whole podcast that day. Us talking in the same room, like clowns.
Yeah, if that's what you guys want, let us know.
Yeah, if you also you have any other ideas or any other videos you want us to do, we have a few in mind. I know a lot of you guys want fan fictions or confessions, stuff like that. So if you want any more, videos, just give us some, concepts in the comments. And
enjoy.
Bon appetit.
Enjoy.
Hold up.
Hey guys, it's Iz.
Hey guys, it's Naj.
Hey, it's Robyn.
Hi guys, it's it.
And I'm Jen.
Hi.
And Jen is back to talk about the rest of big claps. We're going to be talking about some more of the season 4 outfits that we probably didn't get a chance to see or talk about before. The last time we talked was around, early season 4, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of outfits to.
408 had just come out, which is 404 for you. So that was the last time that we talked. So we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is, what was the most challenging outfit to put together?
It's the costume that none of you got to see.
No.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna literally explode Warner Bros. By myself.
Can you say who it was for, or are you not allowed to?
I feel the show's canceled, so I can't.
Oh.
And I am eventually gonna post it. It's one of those, I was waiting to make sure that it was okay to talk about or not talk about. So hopefully it's okay to talk about.
Yeah.
But it was Kronos.
Oh.
Oh my God. Oh,
I'm done. Okay.
I was waiting.
So excited for Kronos.
That is.
Season 5 looked so good.
Yeah.
5. Oh my God, it was going to be amazing. We were robbed.
Yes.
Per usual.
Yeah. And the season was actually going to close on his reveal.
Oh God.
No. Oh. We're gonna open the casket. Okay. We're gonna open the casket.
I had read that though. I think
it was Jen.
Brett did like an interview or something like that where he said that they had a scene with Piper that wasn't in the finale. That was like her only episode or her only scene or something. Oh, that's just.
It was a Piper, and then she would go to Ben and Jed.
Correct.
Yeah, because like I thought we were going to get a scene like a Jen and like Ben scene, but we never got one. So
and there was but
oh my God,
robbed.
Every time we talk about something, it's another deleted scene.
Honestly, there was a lot that was in the finale script that didn't make it on.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we filmed for the finale that didn't make it in the final cut, which is always, heartbreaking. But Kronos was definitely, while he was one of my favorite characters to design for, there was so much loaded behind his reveal that it was the hardest to design because there was no time. And it was so loaded of, what season 5 is going to be, what that means for his character, what we need it to look like for this great unknown that we were going into. And so it was definitely the hardest also because it was the end of the season and the finale itself was a giant episode for costumes to begin with, because while you guys didn't get to see it, most characters had 4 to 5 changes throughout the episode. You guys only got to see a portion of what we actually ended up doing. So it was just a lot all to happen at once. So yeah.
That was so sad because we miss out on all of the mythology stuff that's set up. We miss out on Landon's entire story now. Like it's just.
Yeah, well, we have.
At least we got like a Landon change of clothes.
I at least got one new thing on it.
Yeah.
I fought so hard, but definitely was planning on getting more in there for season 5.
Yeah.
Oh my God, can you imagine what he'll wear in season 5 though? Rob.
Stop
that.
No,
because like we're sitting here trying to imagine how like Kronos will be introduced into season 5, and we couldn't even see the costume. Like, oh, this is the biggest. Every time we talk is a robbery, I swear to God. What is your favorite outfit from season 4?
Outfit out of everything altogether?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say Lynn. She
kind of based like a Nimue kind of like feel to her, because she was like, I know we had a Lady of the Lake, but like that's kind of how the feeling that I got was she was kind of like a Nimue. Like that was kind of the feel of her, of like, because she's so associated with like the boat and the water and everything like that. And
for me, I wasn't really going in the Nimue kind of way, but in the like for the gods, I definitely did a very heavy kind of inspiration on the sacred geometry end of things, especially for Ken. And then for Jen, she was a bit more on the organic sense of things. And so for Lynn, I felt that she was kind of an amalgamation of the two and met somewhere in the middle, and that she was very inspired by both Art Nouveau and Art Deco architecture, as well as clothing, and that she was the marriage of the structure of the ancient gods, but also, you know, she was a rebel as well, just like Jen. And so she had bits of the organic elements to her. And so that's kind of where I took the inspiration, Hades wise, very like.
So she was kind of associated with Hades.
Very much so.
Okay.
Oh.
And so
I made a Hades prediction like way back when, as soon as Limbo was introduced, and I was like, okay, that's like Hades is, yeah, like, and Landon kind of being like a Persephone type where he could go between both, you know, worlds. But that was kind of what I had thought about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And so if you look at some, like Lynn's jewelry, her necklace has a Cerberus on it, or our version of the Cerberus to it. And so we have all these different little nods to her as Hades, like through her jewelry and costume and everything. And so it was, we didn't want to make too far of a leap from the ferryman as well. Like we wanted it to be an obvious kind of transition, but also that she was very much her own thing as well, and not entirely the ferryman. And to us as a character with her, you know, she was this glamorous and powerful god at one point, and then, you know, slowly her soul was kind of wasted away into what the ferryman became. And so we just kind of wanted to show where she originally had been before all of that time, and all of the ferryman duties had kind of eaten away at her.
Yeah, I mean, the reveal was so awesome because, like, we were introduced into Limbo, like, early season 4, and then to, like, finally see by the end of the season how there was actually more in depth and how it wraps around, like, with Ken and the gods. So I'm just, like, the outfit, and then, like, seeing, you know, once again, like, the actress, like, it matches so well, and you would never expect it, because, like, I just thought it was just, like, a monster, like, a literal monster that was, like, blue eyes and everything, and then when, you know, the ferryman was like, Landon, come on, side by the dock. I'm like, they having a conversation? And then the reveal.
It's facts that it was also, they were introduced in season 3.
Yeah,
so it's
Cleo,
like,
because Cleo summoned a Chiron, or summoned Chiron, like, to, you know, find Landon in, you know, even though it technically was a monster, it was one that she created, but, like,
but it's also happy seeing Tassia, because we met her since the 100. So
yeah, the 100. That was a good one too.
I love Tassia as an actress on the one, but like getting to work with her was just such a dream. She's truly like one of the most beautiful people inside and out. She's just stunningly gorgeous, both in spirit and presence. And so it was just truly wonderful getting to work with her to create Lynn.
We could see more of her in the show.
Yeah. Would we have seen more of Lynn in season 5? Was she?
They were leaving it open-ended. There was never a like hard definitive. I mean, she goes to peace, but at the time, it's the TVD world. Like,
literally,
nobody can be like,
you know.
She's gonna come back. With Landon for
rules can change at any time, so it was you know, one of those, she's going to peace, but there's also, you know, we'll see.
Well, Landon technically get messages from peace, so it's not, but she's also a god, so she could travel.
Yeah, exactly so there was definitely open-ended.
Welcome to the Vampire Diaries universe, where nobody's actually dead.
We're also taking the fact that Landon is now a god because he technically has Lynn's powers. So
Okay, yeah, I mean, what does he come back and tell Landon, like, oh, so you already went against one of the rules I told you within one day? That's nice. So
no, I think it's interesting, and I know this has nothing to do with costumes. I think it's interesting that in Limbo he can feel everything, but it's the real world where he can't feel everything, and it's like such a twist because you would think like in Limbo that would be when all of your emotions and everything would be dulled, and then when you're in the real life is when your emotions would be like high up and frazzled. So it was like the fact that they switched it completely for him was like he can feel everything for Hope and his love and everything in Limbo, but then the minute he crossed that threshold, it was like for me it felt like a way to keep him tied to Limbo, because when he was in the real world, why would you want to go back if you had the power to stay, if you had this love that you could not, like that all you did was feel, right? So if you can't feel it, then there's no reason for you to stay.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. It makes sense because like when you're watching it, you don't really know if there's a time limit for how long a god can be on like the plane that Hope's on. So if there's an undefinited amount of time, he could probably stay there forever and then just come to Limbo when he pleases, which is probably what they don't want to happen. So.
Yeah. And him taking over as the ferryman, just to me personally, felt like the most perfectly Landon thing to happen, because he is.
We knew it was gonna happen.
Oh
yeah.
You know, so I know, like I kept seeing you guys predicting it, and I was like, keep emotional. You know, like can't give anything away, but you guys were really on top of a lot of predictions there.
It's funny because like we always pictured Landon as like a counselor, like when they went like he graduated school and were adults and stuff, and we always joked that like Hope would take over the school and Landon would be the school counselor. And then so seeing him be the counselor in Limbo just basically reiterated the fact that we knew Landon so well that that's exactly what he would do.
Yeah,
it was very perfectly beautiful for his character, in my opinion.
When it comes to Landon, he's never gonna pass the chance to help others. So
exactly. And that's just he truly gave like the ultimate sacrifice, and that's just what he would do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're my son.
And you gotta dress his mom. Like Sayla got to come back and you got to dress her. So that was fun.
And thank God we still had her costume from season 1, and she fit in it, and it was great.
Oh, she's beautiful too.
Oh my God,
I've been wanting her back from like the beginning.
For ages, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like seeing her back, I was like, yes, he's gonna get that goodbye with his mom, and it's just like it was perfect. I absolutely loved it.
I mean, you really got to dress.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You really got to dress a lot of like previous characters in this season.
Yes.
Like, you know, bringing like Marcel and Rebecca and Freya and everyone, and bringing like Elijah's suit back and stuff like that. So it was really like you got to like Sayla. And is there anyone that didn't come back that you would have loved to dress?
I mean, I'm sure everyone has like someone they would want to come back, but I felt like we definitely got who needed to come back story-wise. You know, the fact that we got Joseph to come back for Klaus was just, I mean, we were all elated. And then the fact that like we could actually get his costume from when he died, because you know he has gone on to peace, and technically, you know, you go to limbo and what you've died in, and then you know we had this whole discussion of like, does that change when they go to peace? But then that creates a whole other narrative that like we didn't want to take away from the story, and I'm like, he needs to be wearing this, like it's the fans, like I felt it was very important to get him in that outfit, and we were lucky enough to be able to track down the pieces and get it all together and to ship it off to Toronto. And it was this whole very for a costume designer, like holding your breath, hoping it all works out kind of.
Yeah.
But it did, and it was like I was just so glad that we were able to make that happen. And then having Carolyn back was really quite lovely. Candace she's just such a lovely, lovely human being. They all were. Everyone from the previous series were just truly wonderful. And it was nice to get to have that time with them. And when we were going through our stock and everything this year, I actually found some of Carolyn's jewelry and stuff. And so I tried to bring that where I could back into just little bits and pieces here and there.
Oh yeah, that was the one thing, is our friend Pia is like huge Caroline fan.
Yeah.
And she wasn't wearing her wedding ring?
She wasn't, like, she chose what she was gonna wear and things like that.
Oh.
But that was not necessarily a me thing. It was a props and with her and stuff. So, but
okay. So the next question is more of a checkup update. How's your sleeping schedule? How has it been?
It's been nutty. I'm still very much like, where am I right now? Am I in Los Angeles? Am I in Atlanta? It's been a little crazy in the, like, are we canceled? Aren't we canceled? We're wrapped, but we don't know what's happening. And then obviously we're part of what we now call Bloody Thursday, and
wow.
Bloody Thursday?
It was the CW Red Wedding. That's
it really was. I mean,
it was one after another, like
it was within hours like that. I've never felt that much like beating in my chest before in my life.
It was a bloodbath.
Just to be the last.
It was.
It was like, really?
And I really felt for a lot of the directors on our show, will direct other CW shows. And so for a lot of them, literally every show that they worked on was just gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a moment, and so it is one of those, like, weird, it was a sad day, for not just us as legacies and the TBD universe, but like for fans of the CW and employees of the CW as a whole. And so, we were all pretty shocked. Like, it wasn't, people keep theorizing of if we knew or anything like that. Like, we all knew there was a chance, but at the same time, we really didn't think that this was going to be it. So
we also didn't believe that Lex is not going to be canceled, and then we're like,
oh my God.
Like, we planned for the worst, but hope for the best, and we were all very glad that we planned for the worst, since that's what happened, but it was still very much a shock.
So. And it's very frustrating to like see people say that it was canceled because, like, X, Y, and Z, and it was like, no, actually it wasn't. They had other plans for like season 5, and like it was frustrating. But I can tell you that even now, Legacy's fans are still fighting. They're still
we are.
Just
like, so wonderful, and like, it warms all of our hearts. Like, it really, it's like this double-edged sword of it as well, is that, like, we're sad that it's gone, but then it's another level of grief of how much you all love it and how much the fans really brought to the experience of it as well, that it also makes it just that much harder that it's gone, because we all love, like, bringing this to you every week and working so hard for you guys and trying to make something really beautiful that everyone could enjoy. I know not everyone always enjoyed it, but
yeah.
for the most part, we worked our butts off.
Important people. Sorry, that was rude. Anyways,
okay. All right. I mean, the next question is, how was styling Lizzie from being, a siphon witch to then being a heretic?
I really enjoyed the journey that Jenny and I got to have over this last season of developing. Her character out of everyone, I think, had the most roller coaster of costumes because, Hope had a lot of change in hers, but like Lizzie's truly just went you could very much see her ups and downs, and there were a lot of costumes for her that we both really loved because in one scene she could play them up as very powerful, but then in another scene you could see the vulnerability and softness in it, and so it could feel badass in the moment, but then, when she was kind of withdrawn and feeling insecure and upset with herself and the choices that she made, you could see that as well. And so that all of those emotional moments were the driving force of what she wore throughout the season, of when she was at her ultimate badassness, when she actually started to look like Hope in different ways, and when she and Aurora were together in their kind of ways. And, we played the most with her kind of movement throughout the season. And I thought we got to end her on a very lovely kind of way of, we did it with Hope as well, where they can never go back to who they were before because of all the chaos and destruction that they both created. They're both forever changed, but able to show kind of this new character that they are, but also the parts that they took with them from before as well.
I really loved the distinction when Hope was battling her humanity, and you could see the softer humanity and then the non-humanity, like how sharp and hard she was, and then soft humanity was like Hope in 312 when, it was so nice to see that even though they were so different but still similar in a sense because it's still Hope, but it was nice having that difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this season, I really loved all of Lizzie's outfits. I think one of my favorites is 412, which is 48, is it? When she was with Aurora and her and Hope was trying to torture her. I just love how with this whole season, you can really see the kind of the shift of her clothing to even how it somehow matches Hope's in a kind of a sense to her going with Hope after leaving her family in the school to try to essentially find out how to rewind things, and then to finally see the aftermath of when she comes back Hope, and then the outfit's back to softer colors Hope in I think was 417 418, where they're in green and more vibrant colors.
Yes.
You get to see how they're falling back into their self before, which is they can't fully be how they were before season 4, but they're more mature and they're more of their mature self. So it was great to see how the costumes were telling a story without being obvious. So that's what I loved about this.
I love that Lizzie had a lot of off the shoulder stuff.
Yes, and it was the asymmetrical kind of feel for her, I felt was really great because she was so often at odds with herself throughout the season and struggling to figure out where she belonged, what she was feeling, where her alliances were, and struggling in this new being a heretic and what that meant for her, and trying to make amends, but also still being powerful and having agency with herself. So I enjoyed kind of playing with those little.
It also, for me, it kind of felt like her having that, it was kind of it was torn across her body almost in a sense, and being a twin, and then her twin leaving, feeling very ragged and a puzzle piece, and there's pieces of her that are missing. And having pieces of her clothing missing, even though it's very pretty and the way that it is that it just shows that she's not complete. I guess she doesn't feel complete because I can't imagine as a twin having someone there your entire life and having someone to lean on, and then all of a sudden just being thrown on your own to the wolves and not having that anymore
and not having that balance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. It's balance. She just felt very off balance, but it was still gorgeous nonetheless.
Yeah. And it was continuous as well, because, you know, once Josie left, she went to Hope as like trying to fit that puzzle piece together. And then that alliance kind of ended because her and Hope were having no indifference. Yeah. And then Aurora came. Yeah. So it was never, like, she never found that equal that she had with Josie, which is why, like, you know, the asymmetric thing continued until the final end, which was like 18, where you got to see everything come fully together.
Yeah, and I felt in 417 with that asymmetrical top, that is like where she really started to find her balance again. Mm-hmm. Like, and then you see it continue into, you know, like 418, 419 and stuff. And it just, she starts to solidify more as being confident in who she is now and moving forward with everything.
Yeah.
The next question is, what character has the most similar style to yours?
That's an easy one. Anyone, you could ask that to anyone in my crew and they would then be able to tell you. It's Cleo.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Cleo, I really want, like, her outfits are just so amazing. Like, between her and Finch, it's like outfits that I just want to, like, steal and take it to my closet. But with Cleo, she's just, like, so artsy. And you can kind of really see it in her outfits and her jewelry. And I just know that you had a fun time, like, putting it all together. Because in some way, it kind of expresses yourself as well. Like, what would fit her in the storyline, but also I can kind of see myself wearing it as well. So.
Exactly. Yes. And there would be days where, like, I would just come into work and they're like, oh, you're dressed very Cleo today. And I was like, well, I've had this for 6 years. So it's more like, this is just me. And some Cleo. So yeah, I
can see that though, because as a designer, you're artistic and you're kind of a muse in a sense, the same way that Cleo is. So I can kind of, like, I can see the way of bringing that into her and into, like, her strengths and her abilities and stuff too, because that's kind of what you do. So
yeah, Cleo is definitely my muse. I mean, Anko in general as a human it should be everybody's muse, but you know, it definitely she was where I just clicked the most naturally, to the point where sometimes, like, a shopper would be like, you already bought everything needed for Cleo, right? You don't need me to look for anything. Yeah, I got her. Like, even during our Christmas break, I can't turn it off, frankly. I can't. It's really hard. But even during the Christmas break, I was on the beach ordering clothes for, you know, because it's just me. So yeah.
So speaking of Cleo, how did you want to, like, show the difference between her being an oracle and then her being a fury? Like,
so for the fury sense of things, I did start very subtly bringing it in before the audience knew anything. I started bringing, like, the rose quartz and tourmaline and stuff into her jewelry, and also bringing in even more celestial kind of prints and patterns into her clothes, so that there you can see that, like, little bit of twist of darkness and power starting to happen in her. So I was trying to slowly bring it in. We were definitely going to go in harder for season 5 with it, because that is when she's fully realized and stuff. But yeah,
like her moon, I really loved her moon necklace with the stone. And
yeah, thank you. That was a little guidance into her furydom. And then
I kind of thought she was going to be a fate, but then I didn't even think about fury. Like, you know, just because she was an oracle, I was like, oh, fate would work with, you know, like, being one of the Moray sisters. But, like, you know, the fury was super cool too.
Yeah, I loved where it was earlier in the season. She thought she had lost her powers, and that wasn't it at all. She's actually so much more powerful than almost everyone. And I just loved that kind of twist there. And it's like, oh no, you didn't lose your power, son. You're insanely powerful.
Yeah.
So thanks
so powerful you can kill a god.
Yeah. And it was funny, it was Vardamus who brought that to her. Like, okay, Vardamus for me, because, you know, he's Wesley for me. He's like always been Wesley.
Yeah.
So having him in that position as quote unquote watcher at the Salvatore school was like, and then him talking to Alaric, I wanted to say Giles for a second, wrong show, talking to Alaric about how these kids, like, they're the future and stuff like that, and like how, you know, like Alaric shouldn't be treating them the way that he's treating them, maybe he should give them like more trust and everything. And then to the point where he also says to Cleo, like, I don't know exactly what he says, but it's your powers aren't lost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So like having him bring that in. Yeah, like I really loved the fact that they had him bring that in, because he was such because he's a lesser character, and I mean, Buffy people obviously understand, but like non-Buffy people don't. But like having him in that role was very like almost therapeutic. Like I just
Yeah. I mean, once again, like he kind of did the same thing with Hope as well. And it was at 410, he told, you know, Lizzie that Hope's in a dark place. So like for him to be a lesser character in Legacies, and he noticed like these certain things in each character is very telling, especially with Cleo, who came to Salvatore school and was trying to fit in, and then realizing that the thing that made her fit in she lost, to then see that she's more powerful than what she is, and to see like a shift in clothing and how she's more comfortable and she's more able to express herself, and especially with Caleb and how she feels, you really get to see how she's, you know, settling into her new home. Even when like in the finale where she was sitting into the headmistress desk, like you're seeing her like approach it in like a new stage form, to where you're like, listen, you're not just a muse who Malivore, you know, Malivore already knew that she's gonna be something greater than what she was, and now she knows. So Aurora, thank you, because you lost again.
Like, I loved what we got to do for her, for both the fight against Aurora and Kent, but then also the headmaster's office. And
I know for
Shadow
in there.
I was like, did she just see herself as headmaster? Like, is that
I can't say definitively yes or no, but that's how I took it.
Yeah, but it makes sense though. It makes sense because it makes sense, it makes sense because her conversation with MG, because MG, he wanted to be a leader, you know, for like since the beginning of time, and to see Cleo kind of give him advice and have him approach situations, and how she took control and told Lyric, like, we can do this, even though we're both powerless, we can, you know, team up against the clown monster. She's done so many like steps that you probably wouldn't even really look and approach. And
Okay. Speaking of clown monster, as a horror movie fan and a huge Pennywise fan, let's talk about the inspiration for that, because you guys know I was geeking out over that so hard.
I think that would be the second hardest one to design from the season, because there's a whole lot of thoughts.
He was like he was just like
she's having a moment.
I mean, first of all, people have a whole lot of thoughts and feelings about clowns to begin with. And so you get all of those opinions together. So there's a lot of thoughts already there. And then trying to disseminate those thoughts and figure out the right direction of where they want that to come from. And then also creating the backstory of his origins and what he came from. That, you know, it's a lot to figure out. And I was very happy with like where he ended up, but it was also a big process.
And the idea of paper was from them, like, throwing in the paper, the fire.
Yes.
But that's also a play on what they did for Christmas, where they throw the wishes into the fire with the paper too.
Yes.
So that was,
Yeah, and so it was interesting going back into like ancient Egyptology and reading about the origins of witches there, and then also reading about the origins of effigies throughout history and what was important in how things were utilized for different effigies throughout time and the symbolism there and everything like that. And it was something, the clown went through a whole lot of different iterations of what his true origin was and where we finally landed and all of that jazz. But what ended up being the clown the most was driven from, you know, these people writing their sins and their fears and everything and throwing them into the effigy, and that he was born out of, you know, this effigy and engulfing those, you know, sins and fears and everything. And so with his costume, like, we tried to incorporate a lot of that in there. So most of the fabrics you would see on him have a paper-like feel to them. There's a lot of leathers, there's a lot of skin textural kind of things to him as well. And so it was some people wanted him to be more stereotypical clown-like, and then others didn't. And so it was just finding that right balance of, okay, he says clown, but he doesn't say clown.
Right, yeah.
And originally he had a bit more of a medieval Renaissance kind of inspiration to him that we all moved away from, because we did end up having more of the origin story where it was around basically around the time that Pompeii exploded was where we ended up time-wise for him. And so just really truly taking it down to the bare bones of the papyrus and natural materials and things like the wood and stuff like that that would have been real at that time. And so that is then what spawned future iterations of the clowns that we now know. So it was trying to take him to this very base that no one's ever seen before. And then that's what grew from it. And so while he has a bit of the like rough happening with the paper and everything, that was because it was the crumpled up paper thrown in the effigy. And so throughout the rough and the paper bits, like y'all can't see it, but it is there, are words in Latin of different sins. And
that's what I was wondering, if they actually had words on the papers of, it was like I almost described it as like a Dear Diary type thing, because people write their sins and thoughts and stuff in a diary. So like he was almost like he had those on him. Yeah,
he did. It was all over. And you know, again, it's like you could, between the lighting and the movement and all that jazz, like you don't always get to see those little things, but it was very much there. And so also the rough, it was, I need to post this because I love burning things. It's like I'm like a pyrotechnic for my own costumes, but like we burnt so much of his costume just for it to have that born of the fire kind of.
Yeah.
And so the paper had burn marks all up throughout it, as well as all of the sins written in Latin. But I had a whole list going that I did up one Sunday. It was great. You know, the old Catholic in me had a whole lot of fun.
No, I was a huge fan of the clown, so.
I mean, like the clown is intimidating, but like the costuming is just so amazing though, because like I expected like a literal clown, but to see how there's like, you know, dimension to in the background to how the clown was made essentially, but also how the approach of it is scary, such as like the venom causing hallucinations, and the way for you to beat it is like by like laying it all down. It's such a different approach, which is why like the episode is probably an episode that I love, like definitely one of the top 3 out of the whole season, just because of how different it is, because it's still dark due to the clown, but it's like, once again, you know, the super squad come together, but you're also seeing the clown effects on the actual students, like Hope, and I mean mostly her, but it's crazy.
And Jed, I really love how his story got to evolve.
So beautiful.
That episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the clown, we also really wanted him to have not quite a humanly feel to him. So his body is very built out in different ways. And like JJ is just so good at, you know, doing a little bit of everything, like being the ferryman and having like, you know, just kind of an amazing range of movement. And so we were able to have it where like the shoulders are built out, like the one elbow is built out even further, and like his knees are juxtaposed so that there's nothing that looks human quality wise to him, that you can see where it's like, oh, he was of sticks basically, because it's just that whole different kind of anatomy.
See, that's what I don't think people understand, is how much actually like thought goes into these. We see them on screen and then people are like yay or nay or whatever, like they don't actually think about how much detail is actually in each, you know, costume, specifically like the monsters, like the ferryman, like the clown, and because we don't see him for very long, or it's one episode and then it's forgotten, but to see like, and to hear you talk about like the work you do before you even work on the costume itself is like,
he was for this season, he was the longest creature in development. That was brand new. We had started talking about him in it was not early November, not quite mid-November, that like around the like 10th of November. And there had been originally talk of him being in the carnival episode and things, but then, you know, stories evolved and they found a better story for him, you know, and doing this origin with the Egyptian witch and ancient Rome and everything. And so he kind of got moved into that. So that's also, you know, his inspiration and origin changed. But, you know, it was starting off with different research and finding not just clown elements throughout time, but like the gestures and, you know, the Egyptian witch origins and things of that nature, so that like we could see where we wanted it all to go. And yeah, so his was the longest that was in development for the season, because we ended up filming him towards the end of January. So it was also a very quick, even though he was in development for a very long time, a very quick turnaround of actually producing him, because we had COVID shutdowns and everything. And so when we came back, it was like, oh, and now he needs to be made, but in like no time, because half of the creatures department was out with COVID, and like it was just grabbing people wherever we could and getting them going. And, you know, it was one of those funny things where he's been talked about for so long, and yet, yeah, get him done. So,
well, he came out amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and plus, like that 414 was probably the best time to put him in there, because I can't imagine him just attacking like, you know, Hope and Lizzie during a carnival episode, and, you know, and be robbed out of Jed's storyline. I feel like it was the best way to introduce, you know, something that Jed would never knew that he would experience until it was brought back to life, but also to see, you know, more so it teach, you know, Cleo a such a different perspective, and then you got them realizing that this can make Hope humanity come back. So it's not just like it's more so everybody, like, you know, you got more in depth about Caleb and why, you know, Cleo and, you know, potentially the gates and locked her up. Like, you're seeing different characters, you know, perspectives regarding to this clown. So once again, it came out perfectly well, especially with that episode.
And Alaric starting to like face his own demons and being back from limbo and everything. It just, I thought it was the perfect vehicle. And I mean, clowns, you know, so many people are so scared of clowns. And so I kind of knew I was at least going in the right direction design-wise when my husband like sat down next to me as I was working on him and went, ah! And so I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. This is good.
So you're telling me it's good.
Like, if he's scared, then yeah, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, while the movie like definitely scared me in my youth and stuff, like clowns aren't something that for me I find terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that freaks me out. And so it was a like, am I making this creepy and scary enough kind of thing? And so, you know, I sent it to people who definitely would not want to see it and like ask for their reactions.
Yeah.
But even like the lore in the beginning of the episode, like the costuming for, you know, the lady that comes into the village and Pistakers, like even her costume was amazing. And you really just knew like this episode was about to hit with the costume.
Yeah.
So
she was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we were going to see more of her. I was like, oh, is she going to be a guy? We're going to see it, but no.
I know. I had hoped, because she's also just a lovely and amazing human. And so it was one of those like, oh, I want you around more.
Yeah.
I did like the whole clown thing, bringing out Jed's, because like I had been waiting for Jed's storyline. I had talked to Ben in October of last year, and he was saying, it's like, just get ready, Jed's storyline is coming, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. And the way that it was announced, I was like, yep, this is perfect. I absolutely love it.
It did not.
I was like, it did not disappoint at all.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like Jed's storyline was one of my favorites this season. Yeah. So it was great to see that was the beginning point of like everything, and then the build up afterwards was amazing.
Yeah, and he and I really loved like getting to talk about, you know, taking Jed from this stereotypical jock bully and moving him into this, you know, new, like, his true self coming out. And it was something that was it was very important to both of us, and like finding the right times and also finding the nice little places where he and Ben might coordinate and
yeah.
Oh, we love them.
Play
Yeah, we're in love with Ben and Jed. Like, we're just like,
such a beautiful story.
Oh my God.
I had said from the beginning that I wanted Jed to be like sexually fluid. Like, that was like the one thing I wanted from the beginning. And when like literally like
when Ben unwrapped himself and
the tension was there.
And Jed had like the total gay panic of like, oh my God.
Yeah. He's there.
When they were doing the party for Alaric and he was just staring at the bicep, I'm like, sir, I can see you.
With little Shannon, we were all we were like, oh, look at that.
when you dressed Zane, it was to accentuate his muscles and his like.
It was accentuate these.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Which my husband was very jealous of. he would watch the episode with me and be like, I see what you did there. Like Zan and I definitely had way too much fun in this video.
So him and Ben and Zane's interactions on Twitter are the funniest thing too. They like they're so funny. I love it.
I wish you all could see just their chemistry in real life together, because it just like they hit it off as friends in such like a beautiful way. And dear God, the scene in the finale where they wake up the next morning and I mean ladies, the goosebumps I had watching that, I was like, oh goodness gracious, I feel like I shouldn't even be watching this. Like,
I feel like you're interrupting something. You're like, whoa, okay.
And
I was just screaming. The hug for behind.
Like the two of them and the work that they would do on their own before they even got to set was just amazing. And the way they found those characters together and developed that relationship was just so beautiful. And you believed the sincerity of it so much. And like, even when they had their first kiss, I was on set and I was holding my breath. Like, it just, the electricity in those moments, it's one of those, I hope it came through to you guys, because when I watched it, the chills still like hit me, you know.
Even when they were fighting, and then Ben said that he loved him. That's
oh my God, the reveal.
You could see the pain.
I have said this from the, especially the one of the first times we saw Zayn on screen is when he had that scene with Asher. And he like had that scream, and then it kind of paralleled when Jed died. I was like, can we just talk about, like, it was just perfect. I was bawling my freaking eyes out both times. It's just,
yes.
Yeah, no, it's so sick, because I was like, earlier this season, I was like, oh, well, you know, let's get a parallel to Jed dying.
To 113, and we got it with bed.
And it literally happened. I was like, what? But, oh my God, like this. And
that's how you know a ship is going to be good, is if the two actors are just like so they're friends, and they're besties, and they just work so well together, like Danielle and Aria as well. Like, they're just so beautiful on screen. The chemistry is just incredible. Like, and then that's the same with Ben and
Cleo too. Just, you know, Chris and like, it just, and not every show has that, like, where there's so much chemistry. And I mean, obviously, Rebecca and Luke had great chemistry, because they're married. But that doesn't always translate well on screen with couples. And for them, it did. They were also so much fun to watch together, because like, she hadn't seen some, like, I sent her the drawings so she could see, but like, she hadn't seen him in the costumes, and so it was just, you know, it was just very fun to play that up for them.
Yeah, seeing them on the screen,
Yeah.
They were, oh my God.
Yeah, we were very lucky with a lot of good chemistry on the show.
No, but Jed and Ben had become one of my favorite things to watch this entire season.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Like,
I was very glad that we at least got the little hammock moment of them, because so much of their story for the finale was cut.
Yeah, they talked about, they did a live days ago, Ben and Zayn, and they talked about their scenes that got cut.
Yeah, and it was just really nice that we at least had the hammock moment. So we got to end like their note on a very happy one.
Their hammock scene was in the promo too for the finale. So I was like, I hope it's in there.
Us specifically, we got everything that we like basically wanted for the finale. We got really good Handon scenes. We got really good Ben Jed scenes. Like, we were just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we good.
Yo, no, seriously, like, I was like, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm content. Until I make some.
Iz got her Lizzie and MG.
I did get my Lizzie and MG, because I've been fighting for them since season 1, and I was struggling out here. I was like the last Mizzy shipper out here.
Yeah, I was waiting for Lizzie and Ethan to hit it off, but it didn't happen.
I was expecting, I wanted Lizzie and Jen, but yeah, I mean,
I wanted Maya and Finch. So
I wanted Maya and Finch too. I was expecting that. Yeah, real hard.
Listen, they're canon off screen.
I mean, you know, like,
they're canon off screen. We Maya and Finch.
In season 5, that was totally happening, but that was in my own brain.
Exactly,
in my own brain as a fan.
That was happening in our brain too. That's
yeah. It's like for us, Handon's like in a long distance relationship right now.
It's bad.
Everything's okay.
We're like, Landon.
I really wanted to see Maya at the memorial, but I mean, thank goodness for her success. She had a whole end of season arc on Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy, yeah. It was so beautiful too.
But in my own mind, if she had been there, it was like, oh, and then Finch would have gone and consoled her.
Yeah.
Because Josie was off with Penelope. We got that confirmation. She was in Belgium. So, you know, then
like it was like definitely hinted about the Penelope part.
Yeah.
But like then there was Finch, poor Finch, who was just like
waiting for Josie.
There, you know, like Maya could have comforted her too.
But that was the one thing I loved about like her scene with Hope at the beginning was that we got a little closure there of Finch like starting to come into her own, and then with Jed was just so
that scene.
No, listen, that gave me freaking chills. I was like,
I love different sheep.
Loses. No, that we were done. We were like bawling our eyes.
Oh yeah, I was there for that scene too. It was.
Oh my god.
But there were some other Finch moments that were subtle but powerful that I do wish like had gotten to be in the final bit of it.
Yeah.
And some of the costumes are really great too.
Yeah.
You know, we at least got what we needed.
Outfits were always so good. Like they were just so Finch. Like I don't
Finch, yes.
Yeah,
she was the other one I would say, like, if you like, I don't dress like her naturally, but like on the inside I do, if that makes any sense at all. And I would say there was definitely a period in my early 20s where I very much dressed like her. And so after Cleo, she's the one that I then kind of relate to the most, that I felt like I just got what she would do and why she wears the things she did. And she always just skated by that, you know, uniform sense as much as humanly possible and rebelled where she could. And, you know, she's the character that she never just wore something as it came, you know, like she always just did something to it to make it more Finch. And so I think I've said this before, where like before each of her fittings, like I would just take some of the stuff and start fucking it up. Like I would just holes and even on her, like I cut it and do different things, and just so that it would feel more truly Finch. And so that's just kind of, you know, how I related to her design wise.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met a character who like literally is made with that, like with the outfits. Like, her outfits are specifically made for her. And like just seeing her once again, because like when she first came into the Salvatore school, she felt like she couldn't fit in because of like how she was. To then realize there's other werewolves like her, to then kind of be hinted of her being an alpha later on, because once again, Jed is not a werewolf anymore, and he's going to be living off of, you know, love of his life. To see her, I really wanted to know if she would be like an alpha for this role. So like season 5, can you just imagine like how an alpha Finch would dress? Oh,
well, and that's like slowly where I was trying to take her, where, you know, before she was like kind of, when she started out the show in season 3, she had a powerfulness to her, but then like when she came to the Salvatore school, she's kind of like making herself small in a lot of ways. And you know, in understanding that, but then also seeing how her character was transitioning slowly into this alpha role, that I was trying to bring that power into her clothes and having her like slowly start to stand out from the pack and slowly take on that alpha sense. And so, you know, where you see her at the end, she's just so very, you didn't get to see some of those costumes, but it's so very, you know, very badass, very in charge, very like
definitely
alpha. And
like you can see it. You can see when I'm in 419 where they had to fight with the gods, and she was between, you know, Ben and Jed, and she was like, we have more important things to do, such as, you know, people that's here that can live, so let's get on. Like she was telling an alpha to do his role. So like you really get to see like how like she's not afraid to speak her mind. And even with challenging him, and when she came with the pool outfit, like it was totally on brand for her to like take it. I thought it was hinting it before, and I was like, oh, what if she become alpha? Like, and then it rest assured it does happen.
I feel like Jed has also had like an ups and downs with being alpha, like especially since season 1, like especially after he beat the crap out of Landon, and and like because that was right after Rolf had like beat them the fuck up. Like he was just like whatever, but I don't know, it's just like seeing like those two stories, like somebody who's like never thought that she would become that kind of like authority figure in a way, to somebody like who has always thought that's what he needed to be, to him not being that and then her being that. It's just like, it's amazing. It's a great like way in the friendship as well too. They're able to like collide like that. So
yeah. I mean, I always feel like it was kind of a challenge with Jed, because once again, season 1 he was like somebody that took advantage of the other packs with like his homework and making it seem like no one should essentially be questioning him, to then have his position be taken away from Ralph, and like to never really see it mentioned again until like he just picked it up because Ralph is obviously dying. And then to kind of see that he's more like, he has more to him than just a pack, and you see it in season 4 to where you're like, he's grown just being an alpha. He has so much to do, so much to explore. Therefore, it made sense for him to outgrow that position and embrace who he really is, and then have Finch embrace who she really is, which is a strong leader. So it's kind of a nice approach I've seen.
Yeah, and where they were building for season 5 with them was really quite lovely in that way too, of his importance just taking on a different role with Ben, and all the possibilities there.
Okay, do you not want me to ask that question about the outfit?
Okay, so I had told you I talked to Amino.
Oh yeah,
like a couple weeks ago. And I don't know if you remember when we talked to you last, you said there was an outfit that you guys had fought for. Did she ever get to wear it?
Yes, she did.
She told me, she said it was like something with, like, she said overalls.
Okay, that was another outfit that we fought. Okay,
that's what she said. But she wasn't really, like, obviously she didn't know what we talked about and everything. So
yeah, there were 2. We got one of them at least. So the outfit that she wears when Caleb takes her to Atlanta is the floral dress. That was one that we had fought for a little while and finally got in.
There we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was okay. We got it.
But there was this beautiful, like royal blue. We dyed it this color, royal blue, overall corduroy, little jumpsuit thing that was just gorgeous, and we tried so hard. We tried every which way in combination. Just like I don't know, but we loved it. It happened.
That's all that mattered. But yeah, she had said something about that. So it was nice to talk to her. She's so sweet. She's literally one of the sweetest, like, and we get to meet her in December, so it's going to be a great time. Yeah.
Oh, in December.
Where does that take place in December?
It's in Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Yeah, it's
December 3rd.
Third.
To the
downtown, right? Like
we're going to be there December 3rd to December 6th.
Okay.
Well,
no, it's November.
Yeah,
November.
Like December 1st to November December 6th.
Yeah. We're going to come there early to explore.
We make a go trip.
Yeah.
We're very excited. We're like, they were
might happen to be in Atlanta then too. So
yes, please. We coming from all around the world.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
I am literally driving down that Wednesday. It's going to take me 12 hours to get there, but I'm going to I'd rather do that than fly. I don't really like flying as it is.
I'm going to fly.
I know, Vince coming from Brazil, so.
You kind of have to. But,
yeah.
Right.
I have to fly.
I mean,
going to the Atlanta airport is, woo,
Oh God.
So I understand where you're coming from is.
We were very excited though. We were like, this Gold Rush event, they've been doing a bunch of these things, you know, it's how we got to talk to Danielle the first time, how I got to talk to Ben. And we were like, how cool would it be if they did like an in-person event? And literally like the next day they announced the Super Squad Con and we were like, okay. And so we bought the tickets and we were like, we're going, we're doing it.
Impulsively bought.
No, it was like last minute, we were like, we're doing it.
Yeah, so.
Like, how do I get a free ticket to this?
Liz, we gotta put you in talk with Gold Rush. And
Part of Legacy, so like, you know, Gold Rush would be like.
It's gonna be a fun time, you know, like. We have a bunch of people like.
Yeah, I mean Danielle.
Ben's gonna be there. Danielle's gonna be there. Jenny's gonna be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bianca's gonna be there. Bianca. No, I don't. I think Bianca's coming too. Bianca's coming there.
Coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Leo. Well, so basically,
we're gonna be. If you see us, if you do come, we're gonna be running around trying to get places. I mean, it's gonna be like
they expanded to Friday, so we can get time. So I'm not running on the first floor. I just need Arya to come. Arya, please come out the door.
We're waiting for Arya, our little ghost.
Like, I need him to talk about what he likes to see in season 4. I need Arya to come. I just need Arya to come. But I'm gonna be fighting my Arya rights behind the scenes. So.
But anyways, yes. So we're gonna be in Atlanta in December. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Trip around that same time. Let us know.
Oh. I will be in Atlanta at that time.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay, good. Cool. Sounds good.
I was like, when is
it? When is it? Yeah.
Okay. We can talk about Super Squad Con.
Mm-hmm.
Soon. Okay, so the next question is, if you could dress Landon this season or in season 5, what style would you approach for him?
Another robbery.
Oh no! It's a very loaded question because you know, I had ideas, Arya had ideas, but we also didn't know like exactly where things were going, or like we had an idea where things were going, but we didn't know maybe some of the backstory of it or exactly the clear direction that it was headed in, and so. There were a number of different ways that it could go. But at the very base of it, you know, Landon, he's a simple guy. Like, he doesn't come from money. To him, clothes are just a necessary thing to not be naked. He's not someone who like spends a lot of time thinking about and caring about clothes. He has a lot more important things to tend to. And I feel like where he was going with the ferryman, it is also the same thing in that way. Did I want to get to change his clothes more? Yes. I did think there, you know, I was wanting to start to evolve his style into where his role was, taking into more account of the like Lynn Hades aspect of the ferryman, and you know where we were with the gods and things of that nature, and moving kind of in that direction with him. But it was also like, where are we going with this? How is this evolving? And so how neutral do we want to make his clothes, or how, you know, because he is losing this part of his humanity, does his look become more important to the ferryman? And so it was, you know, there are a lot of different ways of playing it. Arya and I were like, we'll see where it goes in season 5, but like we were excited for the possibility to do some different things.
I can only imagine him coming in and be like, oh, here we go, same thing, let's do it.
Okay, but honestly, how excited was he to be in the janitor's outfit because it was a change of clothes?
He was like, wait, I could have changed this whole fucking time. That's what Arya said. And I was like, God. Right? But I was like, but no, you can't, because we did bring that up, and it was like, no, that he's just putting it on over. He still has everything else on underneath.
Oh my God.
You know,
it's the mindset where it's like, but I could have put something else on.
Yeah.
Might not have been able to take anything off, but layers could continue just piling up.
So as Ferryman, he was able to add this layer of this cool hoodie jacket.
Yeah, he was so.
We actually have a question about that. We have it at the end, but we can ask it now.
Go for it. We're here.
With his hoodie zipped up, was that telling of like his emotions? Like, was that tied to his emotions because he was kind of like enclosed?
We were talking about that as like a little bit of a protection kind of thing, or like a, being
closed off
inside. Yeah. But at the same time, honestly, it gets really cold out at night, and
we get that.
Because we were there.
There's the emotional side, but then there's the practical side too.
We were there watching Limbo film for
404 for you.
And it was cold. We didn't.
And that was like when it was still warm out. I mean, I got the kid like actual heated thermal underwear to wear, like fabric and all. And our biggest, like, when we were talking about, okay, we finally get to give you something extra. What is going to be the best that, like, in the summertime, we can like chop off everything else underneath it, so it's not 50 layers, but in the wintertime, it is the 50 layers to keep you warm. and so that's why one of the reasons why we really loved the, like hoodie jacket that he got into, because we could chop everything off underneath or have all of the layers for the warmth. So because we were like, God only knows, it could be 3 more seasons if you're just wearing this.
Yeah.
Poor Aria.
Oh my God, Aria was out here with 2 outfit changes, 3 maybe.
3.
Oh my God,
yeah.
my son he's gone losing it.
He hadn't even told me this. Like, here, part of his shoes like came undone. And I was like, Aria, we would have given you other shoes. Like, you could have told me. And so he has new shoes for the finale. I was like, the ferryman's getting some new shoes too.
Oh God.
He's like, he won't get shoes in Limbo, so we gotta make this work.
Not his shoes talking.
Let me tell you, they weren't cheap. And that was on purpose.
He was a material.
Because I was like, if he's not going to tell me when these things wear through, I'm going to get him some really expensive shoes so I know they're going to last.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now I gotta look at his
your Landon budget probably wasn't completely spent, so
it was truly just the warming stuff every episode, getting him like warming clothes and things of that nature. Or then having to find more of the jeans on eBay because like they got ruined when we sent them out for cleaning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the budget for the last episode was astronomical compared to the rest of it because we didn't know if we were coming back. We didn't know when we were coming back. We didn't know if we were coming back, how much time will have passed. And so with how the supply chain has been, we needed to make sure we had enough multiples on hand so that if he did need to wear this for 3 more years, we had enough of it.
Right.
So, yeah.
4 years. Since we're on the Landon spectrum, if we ever got a season 5, what kind of couples / clothing or jewelry would you like to give Handon?
I don't know that you guys are gonna like this answer.
Oh God.
Oh.
Well,
go ahead.
To me, at least for season 5, it felt that they were moving in very different directions.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I really hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, because I feel like I read that Danielle did say this in an interview, but it was something she and I had talked about in a fitting where like they're in different places, and that, you know, there will always be this love that they have for each other, and maybe at some point in the future they would be coming together again. But so much of the show had been about the two of them as a couple that in season 5, depending on where and how it was, like it was probably going to be something where they're each finding their way on their own, and what else is out there, especially given what Landon had to give up, you know, and his emotions and, you know, that love. And so it definitely, Handon wise, there might be like nods to their friendship, but I wouldn't say as an actual couple, unless Brett was like, hey, Jen, they're a couple again. Obviously, I would do it. But, yeah.
We had always kind of figured that they would spend part of time apart anyways, because they needed that. But it was always kind of like they needed to spend time apart without being in relationships with other people, because they needed to work on themselves.
Exactly.
I said that. I was like, if they don't put Hope with Landon at the end, I'm like, please make her a single woman, because
which was very much wanted that as well. Like she wanted that space for Hope to just
to breathe,
and
navigate.
Putting her in another relationship just like negates everything, that all the growth had gone through.
She also just worked so hard to deal with the grief of her father throughout the series, that like if we were moving forward, it's like, okay, she's come to peace with all of that now. What does that mean
now?
You know? And it is that kind of like, she's now the tribrid, she's now this, she's gotten over the grief, she doesn't have Landon. There are so many other things for her to like just work forward,
more than
just so much more important than just a relationship. And that was also something that kind of everyone talked about with Finch as well, that because Josie was gone, is making sure that like she as a character was just so much more than their relationship. And showing that.
And people was like, I was like, oh, Hope only got with one person the whole show, but like that's Hope. Hope is never the type of person that goes from one relationship to another. Well, she was closed off, so for her to open up to Landon cost a lot. She wouldn't keep doing it.
Danielle also said, like in so many interviews, that to have two people who feel the way they do about each other but are able to live separate lives and eventually come back together stronger, like they're two magnets, like, you know, there's something beautiful about the fact that these two people can live different lives but then eventually come back together. And I feel like for Hope and Landon's journey, that's what they needed, is to kind of do like, that.
Hope needs to have her like backpack through Europe, semester kind of thing.
We have been talking about this, like we wanted this storyline for season 2 after she come back from Malivore and everything, and then just being friends and finding this way, and this is how we think that they would go after season 5 and forward. But
like we know that they're eventually gonna live happily, not happily, together,
but they needed the time
at some point somewhere together. But
they have Infinity and Beyond at this point.
Exactly. But like
there's always peace.
Exactly. But having that growth first is definitely what
they needed their time to figure it out.
And I think Brett had said this in an interview, but that, you know, that first love kind of world of it, like, in that we don't always end up with our first love, but like they at least got to have one of the best outcomes of a first love that anyone can. You know, most of us don't look back on our first love. Like, I've come to a good place and happiness with my first love, and you know, breakups are never easy and stuff, but like we're cool with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone can say that. And I think like if Hope and Landon, at least for now, couldn't be together, it is of the very best way to like beautifully respect both their characters, but also their relationship.
Because it's not because they don't want to be together. It's not because of any of that. Like there's hatred or anything. It's literally because they're on a path.
Yeah.
Is pulling them in a different direction for now.
And the like good of humanity.
Yeah.
Needed, you know.
Danielle had said this in an interview, and this is like I love that she had said this. She said that her and Arya had come to the point where it's like both Hope and Landon are at the point where they're both comfortable with where they are and with their powers, and that's what the relationship between Hope and Landon really needed it. And I was like, yep.
Yeah, because that was a point. I mean, that was a whole plot in like season 2-ish. But I mean, it makes sense though, because in season 5, once again, Landon he's just been a fireman for like 2 days. So you really need to see how he's going to handle it, and plus like earning his emotions back, or how it works, or if due to Ken's curse being gone, does the rules that Lynn told him still apply? So like there's still so much stuff for him to do besides just being Hope's love interest that can be explored, and her growing into her own person than just being more so, I mean, grieving her dad.
That Hope has been a love interest to literally every person on the show.
Yeah, literally.
So, like, that girl needs some breathing room.
Literally.
That's another thing they had said when they brought Ethan and Maya in
Please
season
leave
2.
us alone.
When Julie did an interview where she was like, and like Daniel was like, everybody has a crush on Hope. And like, it's literally like, I mean, who wouldn't? But like at this point,
fair, but
fair enough.
The girl needs to breathe. Just
like we wanted this, and we wanted like a whole breather in season 4. But now since Landon has a new spectrum as well, season 5 is more so building again on by themselves. So when they come together, it makes more sense.
Yes.
So.
Can I tell you guys a little thing just on a fan level of me? It was hour 412 when Hope is in limbo with him. And I gave the writers a hard time. I was like, so she's in limbo now. So they could actually,
Yes. Don't even talk about it, because
why didn't they?
Right?
Just saying.
I mean, good thing we're not the only ones thinking it, because I was like, well, I mean, he can't melt.
This is me and I's biggest nightmare.
He can't melt. I mean,
can't melt. She can't kill him if he's already dead.
Exactly.
Just saying.
There's another robbery.
They said we're gonna give you 3 kisses and call it a day.
Yeah. We are waiting.
Well, Hope, canon-wise, Hope does come. Listen, at some point, season 5, she will come to limbo, or she will revamp him up there.
No, but
Landon became a joke with Danielle and I about how like virginal Hope is compared to everyone else on the show. Like Jed and Ben have known each other for like 2 seconds, and
yes.
Got the guy who said God, God be. So I was like, oh, Ben, this is how we getting down.
But I mean, Landon can come up to the real world now.
That was how it took. You see how easy it took her to summon him?
We want to see on screen. That's what we want.
Come on, Ben. We have
that was my Handon hang up.
They can be friends with benefits too,
Yes. We were waiting, but
she said just not be a stranger. I was like, he's not going to be a stranger, honey. I can promise you that.
What do you think he's going to be?
He's literally going to be waiting for the next summon. Guys, that is Hope summoning.
No, but you know what's funny is that I rewatched the finale, right? Mm-hmm. And I noticed that yes, he doesn't have emotions on Earth plane. So in the beginning, when he was giving Ethan, a drink, his picture of Hope was by the drinks. He comes back, it's on the desk. And I was like, Landon, you just carrying that picture everywhere with you?
Yeah, it's just carrying down that jacket.
Get up, Landon. Get up, please. But yeah.
No, and then what I love the scene with Klaus. Like that was like one of my favorite scenes. But what got me, like I was already bawling my eyes out because the whole Klaus thing, but the hand on the cheek. I was like,
I was done when he was like stroking her hair.
He was like stroking her hair.
It was bad because like even though he doesn't have emotions, he
could not stop touching her. He could not stop touching her.
Yeah.
No, he knew he had to get his fill up before he go back home. He knew he had to get the hands because he's gonna get back home and he couldn't get them. But
guys, we're showing all through colors like the hand is jumping out.
It's on a daily basis.
It's that show of love in a different kind of way. That is their love going deeper than just a relationship.
They care for each other so much.
Yeah. And the extra like layer to that scene is, you know, Joseph hadn't filmed that scene yet.
Yeah, Danielle told us.
You know, and so that just shows how good of actors she and Arya are, you know, because they just were able to summon that off of a blank, you know, sheet.
Oh my God.
Literally.
That tear, I thought it was like, oh my God. Yeah.
At this point, Danielle cries, "I'm gone. I don't
no,
like you."
I was gone.
We were all like, my crew and I, like, because of how everything worked out, I was actually able to be down there when the finale played, and so I had them over to my place and we were watching it. And also with Bonnie, the line producer, who, I mean, she's been in the TVD universe for forever, and so it just, all of us were like so, and I mean, like, we worked on it. We've read that script so many times. We watched it being filmed, you know, like we've seen the cuts, like, and it still gets us too.
Yeah, we have been waiting for so long for Hope to have this closure with her dad.
Yeah,
finally, like, get over this survivor.
And it was done so perfectly too. Like it was just like
Joseph was giving the performance of his life.
Yeah, and his
he brought it all.
He
brought it, and even his add-ins. He said he added in like a few like lines.
Yeah, he added in a few lines. And keep in mind, he hasn't played this character since like 2018.
Yeah,
2018. And
it was filmed in Toronto.
Literally,
just in a quickly taking him aside from filming his other stuff with Michael Owitz, the director, traveled up there, and you know they shot it, and you know it just all came together and everyone was so happy.
It was beautiful.
That was probably one of the most beautiful scenes of the finale.
Yeah.
And then hoping bringing his ashes was beautiful too.
Yeah, that scene too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, before let's leave the Handon talk. No, actually, we're getting right back to it.
Back to Handon.
We're getting back.
This is Handon Weekly. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were keeping it cute because you know Handon. Okay, so Hope was wearing a green shirt. I think it was technically 414, but 418 for us.
Mm-hmm.
Was it for the Masked Lady's eyes because she just saw him in the episode before?
Yeah, I'll give it.
Of course.
Totally the intention. 100%.
I mean, she just left him. I mean,
it was her yearning that she just totally.
See,
it's bad for us, man.
It's bad for us.
We gotta take.
This is the last 2 seasons where like they weren't like together.
No,
really.
Seriously, it's bad that we had like a what's it called, a theme of if Hope's hair is straight or to a certain diagonal, it means Landon's back. And actor.
If her makeup is darker, it's because he's still gone. Because she's after he left, she was like this emo face. Yeah.
This is who we are. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate it. I love, like, for the most part, you guys are usually 100% on. So
yeah,
I can't don't give us that credit.
But I don't want to say anything, but we kind of
sometimes they're delusional.
The Landon and Ashes and stuff like that.
We did. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did we just be guessing? Or
we just know these characters very well.
Yeah. And you pay attention, but in a realistic sense.
All right. Okay. That was amazing.
I do have a question about Hope. I had text you about this. I was like about like one of her necklaces.
Yes.
So we see her put the Michelson necklaces on back in the finale.
Yes.
Where's the wishbone necklace?
We both felt that she had moved on from that. I gave her the option, but I was like, I kind of feel like it's been played out.
Mm-hmm.
She felt like it had been played out. We felt like it was a good place to move forward and on and make space for something else.
That scene was so brutal because seeing how Danielle grew. Danielle for season 1, Danielle for season 5.
There's an edit that showed like Danielle in like the first like 2 episodes or something like that of the series.
So much.
And it's like her walking into a room with her first like uniform. Yeah. And then it cuts to Danielle in the finale wearing what it is now. And it's like the growth that this woman has had. It's just like amazing. It's like she's literally grown up in front of our eyes. And
she has.
She has been playing Hope since she's 17. Now she's 22, I think. So
yeah.
Oh my God. How do we want to be able to talk to her without crying next week?
No, Sunday's gonna be so bad for us.
It's gonna be bad. Yeah. We're going to try to contain if she can contain herself first, because she bombarded us last time.
What?
Last time we talked to her, she instantly knew who we were. So it was very like not like
it took us by surprise. She was like, "I know who you guys are. You're the Handon Weekly," and we're like, "Wait one second."
I was like, "Huh?" I didn't even get a chance to. I came in and was so confused because I turned my camera on and she already was like, "Hey, wait!" And I'm like, "Huh?" I was like, "What happened?" So, yeah. Hopefully, we can contain ourselves and not cry. But I think the last question is about her black dress in the finale that was only shown for 7 seconds, but it was so beautiful.
That was the shock of my life that we got it approved.
It was beautiful.
It was.
It was amazing. And we're like, we're just going for it. We're putting it out there. We're hoping, we're trying, and we got it. And we were ever so happy because it was just so, to us, it was like this is where she's going. This is her evolving and moving forward. And it even though it was a memorial, it was still very badass, Yeah. And we did have we had 2 other options that we loved on her in different ways. And we totally could have seen them being somewhere else in season 5 had we had one. But that just felt, it's just so powerful, and it gave her such a presence just immediately. She stands out from everyone else, which is
she did.
What is always supposed to be happening for her, She's the lead. You're supposed to notice her. And we also felt like we got to make that happen for the last scene with her in the uniform, where again it was her evolving, and if she had to be in the uniform again, it was this Hope in uniform and how she would do it. And it was really lovely when we found it, when it came together, and she was like, it was her favorite iteration of school uniform. And I was really very glad that we got to have that for her, since it did end up being the end that we were able to bring it to that.
It was very full circle.
Yeah, was.
But in a good way instead
Yeah.
of taking it backwards. It was moving it forward.
Moving forward, yeah.
Yeah.
Way.
Okay.
And I just love Danielle so much.
Yeah. You can definitely relate.
Yeah, I can imagine like Danielle and Brett talked about like season 5 and have like a 5-year time jump. How Hope would be in 5 years, like.
Oh God, in 5 years and Handon is still not together. Yeah. Anyways, growth.
We survived 2 seasons. We survived 2 seasons.
We did 2 seasons of Landon not even being.
Last time we were happy was like 3 or 5.
How much of a time jump was it really going to be if Kronos was involved?
It could have been anything, honestly. The way it ended, it could have been so many possibilities.
Yeah.
But the prevalent talk was, like 5 years in the future, so that people were more appropriately aged.
Yeah, please.
Because Hope
like pushing 40.
Hope didn't even have a birthday party. People don't even know her age. I'm like, she's probably 20, probably 19 or 20.
No, we talked about this though, that the fact that twins had 2 birthday parties and Hope hasn't had a single one.
Is there even a canon birthday for Landon? Was that on his card?
We don't even know what Landon's birthday is.
Yeah.
My guess is Landon's birthday is about November 17-ish.
Yeah, because it said a date on a card, that his card now the 408.
Well, because Hope was created to balance Landon being created.
Yeah.
And if Selah came out at 6 months pregnant, that means you would have to have that 6 month difference, which means if Hope was born in May, then Landon was probably born in November.
Oh, wait, I thought that Hope was made for Landon then. Wait.
Yeah, Hope
she was made to balance.
She was made to balance Landon.
Yeah. Oh, wow. See?
She was literally made to kill him.
It's an interesting thing that now she's still living and he is
dead.
Yeah, she was born to kill him.
That's what he said to her. He said that to her, and when they went the goodbye, like she was like, he's like, you need to be the one who lives. Like,
yeah.
And it's like,
and he said that he would be the one to always be left behind.
Which can you not? This is supposed to be a peaceful episode.
Okay, but we back to that Hades Persephone thing. If Landon's supposed to take over Hades, he's Hades, then you have Hope as basically like your Persephone.
Mm-hmm.
I know. You said that too, and I was like, no.
So I don't know.
That's just my mythology brain just being like, okay, this is what I'm gonna slide into it.
I need to
this
touch.
Is what we do. We create like.
Yeah, we just have to create someone. Yeah. It has to be delusional to survive.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got my MG and Lizzie endgame, so
they only have one.
That's not delusional though. There's a level of delusion and that's where.
And we got Caleb and Cleo, and we got Ben.
Oh yeah, everybody really got together.
Ben and everybody happy.
Everybody happy. But us. I mean, technically everybody else wasn't happy, I guess, but Handon was, so it's only fair.
I don't care. They are together in like
I feel like
2 months.
I
give them 5 months together.
Let's give it the 5-year time jump it deserves.
I don't know.
5 years, Landon will send 2,000 people to peace and gain his. Matter of fact, no, we theorize some that only reason how Landon can get his emotions back is if Jed and them they die. Essentially, maybe they hold a piece of his soul, but I think it's the more people he sends to peace, maybe he'll gain it back. So,
and then a lot of us were like, so where has Ken gone?
Yeah.
And what implication could that be for the future? Like,
Ken better come back.
Is it really that simple that?
Are we thinking the same thing, Robyn? Are we thinking the same thing?
Say it.
Say the truth.
I mean, maybe, but first and foremost, I was actually wondering about the significance of Hope wearing white.
Killing him. Yeah.
Ooh, the battle of good and evil.
Wow.
I mean,
why?
Lightness and darkness, and
it's like
she still had the black shirt on underneath because she's still the badass Hope. That's the tri-bred and evolved, but
she's never
it's
worn
the dichotomy of the moment.
White has never been her color, and then who's saying that she's life and then Landon is death, and she was wearing white, and okay.
Oh,
I was thinking about the fact that Ken still owes like Hope technically a boon.
I wish it,
So and he told Aurora that he can only bring someone back to life if they deserve it.
I mean, well, technically, Landon was growing into a position of being ferryman, so he wouldn't be coming back unless they're gonna bring back Ethan.
But technically, Ken could bring Landon back because Landon deserves it.
But who's gonna be the ferryman then? Landon just got this role. He's got this job.
They don't need a ferryman. They just need.
This is our brains right now. We like
we are losing.
They need a piggy bank, and you just put it in.
Like, I'm sorry, it's 1 a.m. I'm gonna lose it.
Listen, that's my mind process when I go watch Legacies tonight. So, but yes, that was all of our questions. Thank you for listening to us, Rebel.
Yeah.
We got the rawness of us, like when we go on tangents about we ask a question and it's like we go on a tangent and we end with that. Yeah, it's this had nothing to do with the question that we asked.
Yeah.
I mean, we kept it together. We kept it together in the finale, like the finale review that we did for the 420. Like we kept it together. So this was probably our most.
The beginning was chaotic. The beginning though, the pre-talks, we were like all like in freaking tears, and we were
because listen, one calls.
No, what I want to say though is when they played the monologue at the
the ending,
the ending, and as soon as she started speaking, I was like, I knew what it was, and I was like, yep, that's when I was done.
That was so rude. Brett was so rude for that.
Like, what is the attacks?
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And the little change that she made about she thinks she was coming from a line of villains, and now she thinks she doesn't. That was.
Oh my God! Stop. Okay. Yeah.
Let's not cry.
Please. Yes, but that was our lovely discussion about season 4 clothing with Handon headcanons in it. We hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you, Jennifer, for coming again. Yes, thank you.
Talking with you, ladies, and if you think of anything else in the future,
no, because we keep saying like we need to know the story about this clothes, and we'll be like, no, we can't get Jennifer after the show's over.
I know. I still have like weeks worth of things I need to.
Yeah.
We are all for it.
Finding the time to do it. And you'll eventually get to see what Kronos was gonna wear.
The robbery, part 55. Yes.